The one change that took us from losing money to profitable. Now, I know a lot of gurus come online and talk about their revenue numbers, and I'm honestly at fault for this. I mean, a lot of people know me from my street interview videos where I tell people how much I make every year. Cough, cough, 20 million. But a lot of people know me for revenue. And I wanted to make a video that was a little transparent and talk about a time this year in 2025, or depending when you're watching this video, where we actually were unprofitable. A lot of our brands hit an unprofitable standpoint and we were losing money at one point. And I want to be transparent with you guys because I know transparency why a lot of you guys like me. And when I'm authentic, a lot of you guys can see through that. And I think it's really important that I be 100 with you guys and tell you that there was a point of our career in 2025 where we were unprofitable. Revenue numbers are vanity metrics, and I need to be 100 with you guys and tell you that a lot of the times the revenue might look pretty, but the reality of it is it's not as pretty as people make it seem. There was one change, well, a couple changes we made this year that put us at a situation to where we were losing money to actually starting to make money, and more money than we were before. Starting to make money and more money than we were before. And it would be criminal for me to come on here online and just talk about how much revenue we're making and how we're, so rich and all these millionaire, blah, 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 without telling you guys the real truth that came behind our success and certain things that we did in 2025 that really pushed a needle for us and actually made us profitable. And again, guys, no BS, no fluff. There was a point in 2025 where a good portion of our brands hit an unprofitable month and stuff wasn't looking good. And it was up to me as the founder to look at our business and make changes to actually bring us back to profitability. So in this video, I'm gonna be going over what were those exact changes we made and how you guys can replicate it for your own e-commerce store, or if you're getting into e-commerce, how you guys can start off on the right foot. Now, let me give you context on what our operation looked like when it turned unprofitable. So as you guys know, we were running e-commerce brands. We run a multitude of different brands. We have supplement brands, we have hair care brands, we have cosmetic brands, and all these brands stemmed from dropshipping. Meaning at one point, we were dropshipping product from China, we brought the product over to the USA, and then we started filling out of 3PLs in the USA. Very simple, very straightforward. You make money with drop shipping. You reinvest some of those profits into inventory in the USA. Now you have 3-day shipping times, and now you can actually start building what I like to call a real brand. So again, all these brands started with the same framework, the same stem, started with drop shipping, then went into real business. Now, all the brands follow the same framework. Nothing was extraordinarily different. We didn't R&D any products. We didn't do anything unique. It was just like, okay, this is selling. Somebody else is selling it on Meta. Maybe there's a lot of listings on AliExpress. Maybe somebody was selling it on TikTok Shop, but didn't bring it to Shopify. Let's take this product, launch it on our own store, and do the whole AI branded approach. Now, in this video, I'm not gonna get too much into like how we set things up because that's not the purpose of this video. If you guys want more context on how to go from 0 to 1, similar to setting up these stores like we mentioned before, and I'll put the link on the screen somewhere to our big guide video where we go over literally everything on how you guys can do it in terms of like supplier and all that, BS and all that stuff. Now, this video is about what went wrong, right? So now we had the setup up until this point. And the most important thing about the setup wasn't about how we did things. It was about what we focused on, right? So a lot of you guys might be watching a lot of my previous content. You guys already know the type of things I preach, and it is creative, creative, creative. I am huge on creative. And up until this point in our e-commerce career, we were very focused on creative. We found that, creatives are everything, and you have winning products, not winning creatives. And I was so obsessed with the idea that if the business isn't doing well, fix your creatives and everything else will fix. Now, whereas this is to some extent still true. Creatives are very important. This led me as a founder to neglect other things in the business that were driving us down. And that gets into my first point I wanted to make. One things that we changed that took us from unprofitable to profitable, it was actually our funnel. So I noticed, this month of the year that wasn't doing too hot for us, that when I broke down our funnel, when I looked through our Meta ads and I looked at our TikTok ads and I looked at all our ads for our businesses, I found that our CTR, meaning our click-through rate, was pretty consistent. We had a good CTR. People were still clicking on the ads, and our new ads typically had the same CTR, except our AOV stayed the same. If anything, it was declining. On top of that, our CVR, or conversion rate, was declining. We found that more people were clicking on the ad, but less people were buying. And at the end of the day, this is a mistake on my part as a founder, not looking at our numbers, not looking at our funnel when I should have. A lot of the times when our revenue goes down, I always default to, hey team, we need to make more creatives. We need more and better creatives. Whereas the issue actually arises to where the creatives for the first time in history weren't actually the issue. It was everything outside of that. So the first thing that we changed was our funnel. I completely revamped all the funnels for all the brands. What this looked like was the first one, how do we max AOV? We found that a lot of customers were not taking the latter options, right? So if I could put it on the screen somewhere, you'll see like an example of a normal landing page. Most of the time we do like a buy one and then a buy two, get one free, and then maybe like a buy three, get three free, or whatever the offer is. Most customers were just selecting the buy one option. Most people were not selecting the buy two, get one free option. Most people were not selecting the buy two, get three free option. Most people were just selecting the first option. So our idea was like, okay, how do we get more people to select the other latter two options? Because I know as a founder, if only 30% more people selected the latter options, we would then be making a massive amount of more money and our AOV would massively increase because it skews, right? So I thought, why don't we add free gifts to the latter option? So for the third option down and the second option down, we added free gifts. We added around 2 free gifts, and one of them being honestly just a free ebook, which is 100% margin for us. We added free gifts. That was the first thing. The second thing we did to increase our AOV was we pre-selected the middle option. And I know this sounds really small, but it made a huge difference to where when somebody goes on a landing page, the first option that was selected wasn't just the first buy one option, it was the second middle option being buy two, get one free, and then obviously the free gift on top of that. This alone skyrocketed our AOV. We were floating around a $30 to $40 AOV, closer to $40, and just doing these two things brought us closer to $60. I mean, some days our AOV was like 80 bucks because people, a lot of the times we found, would just buy the first option that pops up on the landing page when they go on there. So people were going on the landing page, the middle option was selected that, boom, easy money, right? And on top of that as well, the buyers who were a little bit smarter saw that there was a lot of free gifts on the latter options, and just because of that, they selected those gifts. On top of that as well, we did small things like increasing our AOV by going on a one-click upsell, which is the upsell app that we use, and by the way, no affiliation with them, and just revamping our upsells. A small thing that we did was instead of just offering one extra product, right? Because a lot of people, what they'll do is like, let's say you're buying a hair care oil, the upsell they have is just like, get another hair care oil at half off. Instead of doing that, a good friend of mine told me upsell multiple bottles. So instead of just saying buy one, we said get a half a year's supply at half the price. So we'll upsell them at 6 bottles, but it will be way more discounted. Now, obviously not as many people are gonna select the 6-bottle option, but the people who do, it heavily skews the AOV. You only need one of those high AOV orders a day and your average AOV skyrockets, right? So by changing all our upsells to having multiple of the bottles instead of just one was a huge unlock for us as well. Now, that was everything on the AOV side. Off the bat, we're now making more money because, again, our CTRs and our click-through rates were really good. It was just that people were not buying enough. And now that we kind of prompted and put small things into place to make people buy enough, so off the bat, we started making more money. The second thing we did was we added subscription funnels, but we didn't do it how most people do it. The issue with most people, when they add subscriptions to their e-commerce site, they add it to all their product pages and they don't realize that hurts their conversion rate. For some reason, when you add subscriptions to your e-commerce website, people buy less people buy, your AOV goes down, more people click off the page. Your front end return on ad spend, so your front end ROAS, will always decrease. This has been split tested. I've tried it myself. Trust me, I can speak from experience. When you add subscriptions to your landing pages, your conversion rate will drop and your ROAS will drop in return as well. So what we did was we created separate landing pages. We added a subscription option where people had the option to subscribe and save at a 20% discount, right? So a lot of people were selecting it. I think our opt-in rate when we launched this was like 60 to 70%, like 6, 7 type shit. A lot of people were selecting it, but we didn't do it on our main page. We did it on separate pages so we don't mess up our front end ROAS. Because we just made all these AOV changes, we just finally started to find profitability, and we're like, okay, we don't want to mess up and fuck up this profitability. Let's launch separate ads and separate pages for subscriptions so we can start collecting MRR. And lucky for us, shit started to work. Not only were our front end ads more profitable because our AOV was higher, now we had these other ads we were running at a low budget, maybe like 1 to 2K a day in spend, collecting like 1 to 2K a day in ROAS, right? So now we're collecting 1 to 2K a day in MRR. So now Now we're slowly building up MRR, so our next couple months would be way more profitable, and our main funnel was more profitable. We were winning. Stuff was doing well. The next thing we worked on was pre-landers, right? So this is something that I haven't done much up until this point, but I knew we had to make some changes that were outside of my comfort zone, and that was pre-landers. We found that certain ad angles we were testing had a high CTR, like insane CTR. Remember, there were some ads we tested that had angles that we haven't tried before, and our CTR was like 6+%. Like shit was doing really well. But again, our conversion rate was super low and people weren't buying. And to me, I realized that, oh crap, you know, the issue isn't the creative, the issue might be the landing page. And because this is like a new angle we've tested for the product, like the example I can give you guys is, let's say we're selling like a red light therapy product, and all up until this point, we always did anti-wrinkle. We tried a creative that was like anti-acne, and people were clicking on it, except nobody was buying it. Now it's because our product page was specifically made for anti-wrinkle. We just set up a quick pre-lander, which we could easily do on Gem Pages or Replo or any of these Shopify apps. We set up a quick pre-lander that was like a listicle that said like 7 reasons why this red light therapy mask is amazing for acne, and it just educated the customer a little bit more. Our conversion rate stabilized. It went back to what it used to be. Our CTR was high and we were making money. So just by doing this, we revived so many dead ads that weren't working just by adding pre-landers, because the customer just needed a little bit more education. Now, on top of that, you know, having a higher AOV setup to where the pre-select was that middle option, the latter option, customers were not only spending more money, but more of them were converting on angles that our competitors weren't doing. We were winning and we were making a crap ton of money. And guys, these small changes alone completely 180'd our business, and we found so much success with it. Now, the next thing that we did that really changed us and that really helped us go from unprofitable to profitable was a new creative style that I've never done before called top of funnel statics. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll put it somewhere on the screen so you can see what a top of funnel static is. It's a native static. So it's a static ad that isn't just like an offer-based static, like buy 2 get 1 free, or a lot of statics that people know of. They're really broad. So for example, if we're selling like a hip pain product, this is a random example I can think of, the static image would be a old person like holding, like hunched over, like it's a very broad image of somebody visually in pain. The caption of the static is where the real magic comes into play. The caption is somewhat of its own VSL. It was like a couple paragraphs of like us selling the product. So for example, we do a lot of story-based ones where it would be like, let me think of a random image, like Jake is in his 80s and Jake tried all these solutions. And again, I'll put an example on the screen so you guys can see. Jake tried all these solutions and Jake couldn't play catch with his grandkids anymore because of this, blah, blah, blah. So we're really painting the picture and speaking to the ICP, being the customer, on the caption. And we found that these type of ads outperformed all our type of ads. And my hypothesis to this is that in 2025, 2026, whenever you're watching this video, AI ads, AI VSLs, AI creatives have really taken over, and customers are really used to them and they're really used to the AI ads. So when they see these top of funnel statics, you know, it's their own voice in their head that is reading the ad. It's their own voice in their head that is reading the caption. And because of that, it helps sell it. And for some reason, we just saw the ROAS on these ads absolutely skyrocket. So that was the second thing. The next and last thing that we saw that really helped us go from unprofitable to profitable this time of year was pretty simple, and that was just cutting costs down with AI. And as you guys know, we're huge on AI. I mean, we have an AI program where we teach you guys how to build your own AI e-commerce business in 2026. Again, if you guys want that, the link is in bio to join Brandify, best program out there. But we cut down a lot of costs using AI. It was pretty simple. A lot of costs that we had were inflated. We were paying graphic designers, we were paying LP designers, where we could have literally just replaced it with AI. Nowadays, Lovable x Shopify has literally saved us over 15K a month, which is a good amount in salary payments. Lovable has done a direct integration with Shopify to where if you want to create pre-landers, websites, if you want to create anything like CRO and website related, you can literally go to Lovable, connect it to your Shopify. Very important, give it an example of what you're trying to build and then tell it what you're going for, and it will literally build it in minutes. And again, I am not affiliated with Lovable at all. I have no affiliation with them, but just by using the Lovable x Shopify integration, we were able to cut off a 15K landing page development cost that we had completely out of the business, and it saved us so much money. So cutting out costs with AI was huge. On top of that, obviously we leverage AI for creatives a lot. So like, for example, not using as many UGC creators, using more, AI UGC was a big one. But the Lovable x Shopify one completely blew everything out the water. And what was crazy about this this was when we found out about the Lovable X Shopify thing and it started to work for us, we went inside our Brandify community and told all our students and people as well. And honestly, bro, everybody was eating off of that. Everybody was like, oh crap, not only do I not have to pay a CRO agency or a landing page developers or make any sort of hires, I can now cut costs, but also test like 2 to 3 landing pages a day. And now, you know, all our students, including us, we're out competing our competition because not only are we doing better on a creative level, but now we're doing better on a landing page level because we can spin up pre-landers, we can spin up landing pages, we can do so many things way quicker than other people because we just have the knowledge. And that goes back to knowledge. I think that, and that all goes back to knowledge. A good mentor of mine told me that the best ability in business is to know where to point your guns, right? And what he meant by pointing his guns is knowing what to focus on. If you guys know the right tools, what to focus on and what to do, e-commerce as a whole becomes very goddamn easy. Most of the people I know that are killing it in e-commerce right now club 4 days a week, do whatever they want. They're degenerates. They don't care. They just know what to focus on. And that's what the benefit of having the right knowledge does for you. And that's why we created Brandify, guys, where we teach you guys how to build, scale, and even sell your own AI e-commerce business. Not only will you be working alongside me and all the other students in there that are crushing it, but you get to see all my brands, you get to learn with me, you get to grow with me, and you ultimately, you know, one day could even partner with me. We've partnered with so many students. Guys, we have students like Lauren that are doing over 30K a day, or Patrick that just did over 5K a day. We have students that have ripped over 100K in a day. Students are absolutely crushing it, and I'm proud to say that we're one of the top e-commerce communities out there. If we had to take our day-to-day student revenue, it's probably close to like 700K a day right now, which is crazy to say. So again, if you guys are interested in joining Brandify and joining the winning side, the link is in bio. I hope to see you guys in there. And if you guys like this type of video, if you like these kind of transparent videos where I kind of break down where my head's at with e-commerce and what we're working on, let me know in the link below. I hope to see you guys in the next video.